Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Everquest Next, Landmark the Game. My name is Oogie, and I'm the guild leader of the MOG Nation chapter, the Soulfire Legacy. Zappernoth here is our chief counsel and our premier streamer. We will be taking you on a tour today to give you some idea of what we've been up to and get you acquainted with some of the aspects of the game. So we hope you enjoy the trip.
Greetings everyone, I'm Zappernoth, and this is a preview of what can be done in Landmark. We're on Oogie's claim, and we're looking at some of the detail work that she does. The majority of what you see has been built by Oogie herself, and as we go through some of the other claims, the majority of the objects will be items that have been created by the players, not a lot of the props or anything that you would see in a lot of other games. There are props here, but the majority of what you see is built by hand. Oogie has a modern style on this claim. This is a beach house on a small island just off the shore. One of the great additions to the closed beta, which we're currently in, is the water and oceans. In alpha and early closed beta, we didn't have water at all. It certainly adds a lot of detail to any of the claims. And just like any good builder, this is the workshop. This is where the majority of the creativity takes place. Working with shapes, testing out inlays, and helping things come together out on the build. It's amazing what kind of shapes that you can build just by that simple square voxel. This is an overview of her claim. And we'll come back in just a little bit here and take a look at the comparison between day and night. One of the things in Landmark that make things a lot more dynamic is the day and night cycle. And they've given us a lot of ability to work with light. Depending on what you do, buildings will look tremendously different between day and night. Notice again, Oogie still has her Christmas lights up. I hope Oogie's talents have given you some idea of what you can actually accomplish here in Landmark. Now on to my claim. I've got a totally different building style. This is more of an old style villa. And I don't do all the detail work that some of the other builders do. I concentrate more on the structure itself, which is just a different style of building. We have spent months gathering raw material. What you see here is just a lot of sand, stone, and of course gems and metals. Not only can you do the buildings, but you can do landscaping as well. Most of the trees there on the right-hand side were placed by myself. And again, just like any builder, I've got my hidden workshop. And this is just some of the machinery necessary to do building and crafting. and some of the shape boards that people have built. And now we're going to move on to preview some of the Dark Elf builds that won the competition. These are permanent on one of the islands here in Landmark. And this will give you an idea of what other builders are doing in the game. Landmark goes through a series of what they call workshops. The first one they did was the Dark Elves. And what they're doing is trying to create a style that we can follow as builders and recognize buildings, interiors and such as, in this particular case, Dark Elven. They are currently winding down the Ogre workshop, which is a completely different style than what you're seeing here. Dark Elves basically use dark stone, a lot of pointed shapes, and the design concept was that Dark Elves actually form stone out of the raw material. So you'll see a lot of that work between finished product and raw stone. So if you want to build in the Dark Elf style, you can actually come into Landmark and visit this island and get ideas on how make that work. Again, there are some props here, but the overwhelming majority of this build, or any build that you see here, was created by hand from players. Now this is a good example of ripping from the natural stone and shaping stone to what the Dark Elf would like. Trying to show their dominance over the forces of nature, I suppose. You'll notice between the builds that I'm showing you that the color schemes and a lot of the shapes are pretty consistent. And that's what the workshop is doing for the game. Now through closed beta, they do intend to do a workshop for every one of the races that can be played in the game. It's really fantastic what players have done and created in the game, and we've surprised the developers as far as our creativity and what we've been able to do with voxels. The Ogre competition finishes on the 4th, which is tomorrow, I believe. And then once the judging is done, then another island will be created for all of the Ogre build winners. One of the additions recently to the game is combat. So I'll go through here and show you a little bit about what that's like. It's not too intense, but basically now we're going to have to compete between the AI mobs for all of the raw material. If you're out collecting copper on the surface, well, you're going to have to remove some of these mobs first. Of course, some of the loot that you get is going to help you in building and crafting as well. Now generally these aren't dangerous by themselves, but if you get a group, you're definitely going to have to watch yourself. And of course they have different arms and armor that you can use, create and find. You saw me using a bow, and now I'm currently using a wand. If you have the armor for it, you can get up close and personal and use a sword or daggers. But right now I'm a pretty soft target, so I need to keep my range. For the majority of these enemies, it's just a matter of keeping on the move. This particular one kind of telegraphs when it's about to strike, so you can time your attacks accordingly. And again, this was just added to closed beta. I think they've got a ways to go, and I think they know that. Just another phase of testing. What we learn here and what we test here is going to move on to EQ next, as are a lot of the builds that we are doing. You can also hide behind objects to make sure that you're not going to get hit. And that tends to be really good in caves. You can actually dig yourself a little bit of a bunker before you start hitting some of the monsters down in the caves. Gives you a little hiding place so that you won't get hit, provided of course you time things correctly. This particular style of monster likes to run away, so you kind of have to chase them. And their attacks are a little bit harder to see. They put down this green gas, which kind of hides them. So again, Landmark is currently in closed beta. I'm going to leave you with the beginnings of my latest build. I am anticipating the Dwarven Workshop, and this is a Mountain Hall entrance. I hope you've enjoyed this show. This is Zappernoth for MOG Nation.